Good morning. We're here at Drill Tech this morning to do some first aid CPR training. We're going to have some students in here and we're going to teach them how to perform CPR on our mannequins, which demonstrates a real live human, and then we'll be training on an AED and teaching them how to use an AED in case of emergency. Early CPR and AED use on a heart attack patient saves many, many lives. We have a chance, a person has an 80% chance of surviving a heart attack with early CPR and AED use on them. So it's very important to recognize early heart attack patients and getting EMS on the way, because they have the real machines to help them out, and being comfortable and acting in an emergency and being comfortable with doing CPR on somebody. Okay, it's important to immediately think of cardiac arrest when we find somebody down, okay? So we're gonna check this patient, we're gonna check the scene, make sure it's safe for us to enter. We're gonna check the patient, we're gonna tap and shout, hey, are you all right? You all right? No movement, no response. I'm gonna need somebody to call 911. Call 911, see if you can find an AED and come back, please. Position ourselves, palms down, hands right between the two nipples, and we're gonna do 30 compressions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Tilt the head, pinch the nose, take your barrier, place it over the patient's mouth, and apply 2 breaths. Back to the compressions. Okay, if you notice the chest rise just a little bit when you give a breath, just give enough breath for the chest to rise. And when you're doing your compressions, you want to see 2 green lights. Okay, we're going to do a little demonstration here. 2 green lights. If we see a yellow light, we're going too fast. A red light, we're not pushing hard enough. 2 green lights, okay? That's how you get your rhythm. 100 to 120 compressions per minute. So it's fairly fast and steady, okay? We call it the cab process. Okay, circulation, that's what we're doing when we're doing compressions. Air's when we do the breathing, okay, and then breathing. The breathing is not as important as the compressions, okay? Keep the compressions going. We want to lose very little time giving breath to get back to compressions. We want to keep that blood flowing, keep oxygen going to the brain. Okay, we're going to introduce you to the artificial external defibrillator. So when a patient goes into cardiac arrest, their heart will go into fibrillation, which the heart vibrates, can't get a steady beat. And we need to put the AED pads on the patient. It'll send a jolt between the 2 pads through the heart and hopefully jolt the heart back into a normal rhythm. So an AED, all AEDs operate the same. They have voice instructions. So the first thing we want to do is turn the AED on.
Remove clothing from the patient's chest.
It'll tell you to remove clothing from the patient's chest.
Open packet and apply pads onto patient's bare skin.
We'll open the packet. We will apply the pads onto the patient's bare skin. Okay, once we get the pads applied to the bare skin, we need to press them down tight, make sure they're very tight, and then the AED will prompt us that they're checking the patient to see if it's in fibrillation. So we want to clear the patient while it's checking, so we're not checking you or somebody else's heart rate. And then it will instruct us whether to give a shock or not to give a shock. When it tells us to give a shock, it charges the pads, and then we'll push the button and give a shock if it advises. If it doesn't advise a shock, we'll continue CPR until EMS arrives. Okay? Okay, Crystal, I've called 911 and I found an AED. You continue CPR and I'll put on the AED.
Remove clothing from the patient's chest. Open packet and apply pads onto patient. Press pads firmly on skin. Press pads firmly on skin. Do not touch.
Okay, do not touch. Analyzing. Do not touch.
Do not touch the patient. Analyzing heart rhythm. Shock advised.
Okay, stand clear. Shocking.
Press the flashing shock button. Shock delivered.
Okay, now I'll start CPR.
Begin CPR. 20. Give 2 breaths.
Again, it's real important to recognize early cardiac arrest. Get somebody to call 911. Make sure they come back and tell you they've called 911 so you know they're coming. Brian, I've called 911, they're on their way.
Okay.
Okay, so we just relieved a bunch of pressure off him. He knows somebody's coming to help him. And then get an AED and use an AED as soon as possible. Continue CPR on the patient as long as you physically can without harming yourself. And leave this AED on until EMS arrives.